Welcome to AgencyRise, the podcast where digital marketing agencies rise together. I'm your host, Chris Rudolph. I've spent the last decade coaching digital agency founders, helping them scale, systemize operations, and break free from the day-to-day grind. On this podcast, we'll talk about what really moves the needle for agencies: getting clients, building a team, creating systems, pricing and positioning, focus, and freedom. So there's no hype here, no guru nonsense, just real conversations from the agency trenches. So today's guest is Marina Zubrod, the PR and Influencer Marketing CEO of the Year in 2025 and CEO of Brandoris. Brandoris is a performance-driven PR and brand agency that has grown from a solo freelance roots into a multi-location international business. So Marina helps brands turn visibility into revenue and leads with intentional strategy and systematic focus. So, Marina, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Chris, for having me.
Yeah, no, well, let's start out. For those of you that aren't familiar with you, tell us a little bit more about you and your agency.
Yeah, I'm Marina. I live and work in Hamburg in Germany. I'm a born Croatian. I'm a migrant in Germany, and I run nowadays small and little agency, which I found, it's difficult to say because I used I started out as a freelancer. So, and then I built it on top. And I think I had my first freelance gig maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago, something like this. And then as it is, you always question, can I do more work? Do I need people and everything? So, I increased that one and nowadays decreased again. So we would claim ourselves as a boutique agency because we look out for more expertise on less shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. And tell us a little bit about why you started the agency in the first place.
Yeah, so I originally, honestly, I started as a freelancer in marketing because I wanted to bootstrap my first company, which was a organic beauty brand. And anybody who ever founded or started or wanted to found a beauty brand knows that it's a very costly thing, especially in terms of marketing. So I didn't want to get any VC funding or angel funding on that one. I started as a freelancer in marketing and based on my passion for my own brand, but also on actually being the expert, the consultant to others, which nourishes each other, because many things I learned on my brand, I was able to transfer to my clients and vice versa. It grew because certainly people and our clients, they love it because they know that I'm a business owner, entrepreneur myself. I know how hurtful it can get if marketing budgets are not spending wisely or responsibly or whatever, So, and they know that if the spark is always that I rarely would suggest a campaign with a certain investment if I wouldn't do it as well. So it's like really, if I suggest something, I would sign it as well if I would be the other way. So, and that's how I grew from freelancing to an agency because, I can't do it all by myself. And especially in PR and campaigning, you just need different experts. You need somebody for the creative things, for the strategic things, and stuff like these. So that's nothing you can do as a freelancer by yourself. And that's how it grew.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really important point that you make of like, you had your own brand. So you're in the lab, you're in their shoes and you're not speaking theory. You're like speaking from experience. I imagine I can only guess that you can speak their language and from their point of views. Yeah. That's really, really powerful. I'm curious, what made you start in like performance driven PR and branding in the first place?
I mean, like we didn't start that one in the first place. At the beginning, it was more around digital marketing campaigning, something we still do. But by the time I identified for myself that I get bored by this performance ads campaigning thing and Google ads and everything. I like the technical part of those things, because it's measurable, it's controllable, and if you know your ways around, you can actually scale. So it's really rewardable in the end as well, but it's not very creative. And if you're a performance marketing agency, you just do performance marketing. So rarely you will be allowed to step into a market entry strategy for a new air fryer with a brand ambassador face and stuff like these. So that's why yeah, because I'm getting bored quite fast, and that's why I went further down the road campaigning, and especially ending up in PR, because I hired many PR experts for my personal brand and for my own beauty brand and everything, and I had them all. I had the most amazing ones, and I had the shittiest ones.
Mm.
And at some point in time, as it always is, at least for myself, I'm questioning if I can do it better. So tapping into that one. And it's fun because doing campaigning, doing PR relations, it's you have to have so much knowledge and a strong network and everything. So, like kind of you have a customer saying, "Oh, we're bringing out a new product." So you have to organize an event. You have to have the media there. You have to have the operations there. The operations have to be on point as well. So the online shop in which this product is being sold has to perform. So you're kind of always on top of all things, and you see many. Yeah, you're very, very, very much kind of the middle point or the connector across many units, departments of brands. So that's really the fun part of that.
That's good. I know very few in modern like digital marketing in this industry, went to university for the exact thing that they do. So I'm curious, what did you do before your agency as far as education, experience, things like that?
My first career was in M&A in investment banking, so far away from that one. So I studied business law on a private business school and started out in M&A investment banking. What is common on that one, M&A and investment banking is about deal making, the same as agency and campaigning is. It's always
Yeah.
about this strategic thinking around what is the next step. So if the client approves that one, what do I have to do then next? How can I surprise the client? Is there anything in my network which is unique so that I put that one out there? If I pitch a campaign, I'm already thinking about how could I convince them to actually really spend the money on that one. So there are some similarities in terms of strategy and pitching and making it happen,
Hmm.
but I would say that's most likely the only common ground. Yeah, so I did something total total different back then, 10, 15
Yeah.
years.
I think though a lot of times, it looks like a non-linear path, but like you were saying, those transferable skills that make us who we are, make us effective in the roles that we're in is really key. I'm curious, did you have any influential mentors or role models or places that you've gone over the years to really learn?
No, yes, but not on a traditional or normal way. I'm a person who learns more from the negative examples. If I see
Mm.
something or experience something, I'm more like then I kind of go out of the situation and saying, don't. I don't want ever to be like this or to work like this, or I don't want to have this or that in my company or client relations or whatever. So I'm very much, I learn from the negative examples. So I would have a lot of negative role models I could name, but not so much about this positive things, because it's like, I certainly believe that nobody is perfect on that one. And plus we're so individual. Everybody has such a different set of, or different roots and a different setup, so that you cannot compare it. It's like kind of, it's like why it's like I always have difficulties just finding role models, not knowing what their background is and if we actually have anything similar in common. So because there are many business people, entrepreneurs out there who come from very, very, very wealthy backgrounds. And I can't be fascinated by them and see them as a role model because I come from a very poor background. To me, running a business means life or death. To them, it just means another thing is failing, but they still can pay their rent and everything is fine. So that's why I can't relate to that. It's like kind of, and if then this wealthy, I don't know, in fifth generation business person is telling me anything about risks and blah, blah, I'm just sitting there and saying, okay, sorry, but we don't have the same common ground on that one. If my risks doesn't work, if my business doesn't work out, I have a huge problem and I'm sleeping below the bridge and you're not. So don't tell me
Mhm.
anything about risks because you don't know what it really means to risk something. So that's why if I don't know the person really and the background, I couldn't be a role model for me.
Yeah, for sure. So, what has helped you grow your agency to where it is today?
That's a good question because usually you would say something like network, which is somehow true, somehow not true, because we all know that having a huge network doesn't mean that you get new projects and clients on board. Sometimes it even means that you don't get new clients on board because rarely your friends are actually hiring you because we all know how it is with friends and business and everything. So former colleagues or not so I think it's especially the case that I learned, especially for agencies, for the business model, to actually really focus on margin
Mhm.
because I just saw so many friends who were running agencies and everything just burning money, like literally burning, and which is ridiculous. It's like kind of having clients, even though they're shiny, even though it's a big brand, giving you retainer money monthly. But if your operations are shitty. It just takes double of effort to serve this client. And in the end, you're actually kind of paying the client money that they are with you on board because it takes you double of employees, double of processes and everything. And it's just a dark red client budget. It doesn't make any sense. And that's what I learned quite fast because I'm I studied business law. I'm just looking at the numbers, and if it doesn't work out, it's like it's it's really exhausting, and it takes a lot of energy to run a business. And if it's not rewarding in terms of money, there was no point in doing that because otherwise I could just do it as a hobby, but not call it as a business because I take the responsibility for the employees and the clients and everything. So it helped to me to always try to focus on where can I actually earn money in
Mhm.
combination with where can I make the clients happy.
Yeah. No, that's good. What have been some of your toughest lessons learned so far?
That what I said. Chasing this nice office full of people, being this big agency, working with this international known brands. This doesn't mean that it's easier, better, happier. Usually this means that somewhere somebody is crying at night, knowing that the payroll is coming up and most likely being scared that one of the clients is shifting budgets and then everything just burns down.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm curious, like here in 2026, like what are a few trends that you're leaning into?
Profit first, really profit first, and remote working. Because to us in Germany, it's tremendously challenging to have people on the payroll. Labor law is a nightmare.
Mhm.
Minimum wages are rising, social expenses for your employees are rising as it kind of, like labor gets democratized so much in terms of access to remote workers, access to AI or implementing AI or whatsoever. It's actually kind of freedom of reducing your teams and still having maybe even a better output because sorry to say, AI is not getting sick and AI is not forgetting something. I'm like, of course they forget, but then you remind them that they have it again, but you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
and that's like kind of something that's kind of profit first and try to see where you can decrease your risks in operations and processes and how you can leverage AI into all of that.
Now I know you're in PR and branding, and sometimes the common view of that is it's shiny or it's very intangible, or and like kind of the questions up is like, how does that actually drive results? So how do you move with PR and branding? How do you move from beyond visibility to actual like business outcomes?
Yeah, so I'm like in general PR, I would say, or that was my perception. Always PR is like the shiny object in marketing campaigning. It's like kind of this glamorous. They're all ending up at some red carpet events to just drink champagne and eat something, and then they just talk about the latest product of the brand. Like kind of that way, which is true because that's the result of all the hard work behind that because you have to have this. So kind of that you spread the word around the town. So you need the champagne and you need the red carpet for that. But on the other hand, and that's kind of where the performance part comes in, nowadays, if you don't want to, you don't have to have the red carpet and the champagne anymore. You can actually go really digital. You can get on social media, you can get on any phone in this world if you just have the right campaign behind that, the right idea behind that, with a good face, with a good story. then you're ending up on social media. Then you're ending up in the right media, which mentions your brand with some backlinks and whatsoever, so that you actually end up in a Google ranking on first couple of spots or Google listings, however you want to call it. Same goes for AI, that AI actually mentions you. If somebody kind of, like if I'm asking, oh, what's the best beauty product right now? Because during night for, I don't know, dark colored skin. The result is leading me to actually buying it because I trust AI so much. And if ChatGPT is saying it, I will buy it. And for this result, I don't need a red carpet and champagne.
Hmm.
And that's like kind of the difference where I come from, what I think. But many think of it as red carpet and champagne. As I said, important, it's fun, it's good. You need it as well. But in the end, that somebody ends up in your online shop, you can do it differently. So that's why kind of the perception is always very intangible, shiny, but it doesn't have to be. And that's
Yeah.
where I come from.
Yeah. Tell me about like maybe the interaction between offline and online, you know, type of events and strategies. How do you really look at that?
Yeah, so as I said, kind of the red carpet and the champagne is important, so that actually the important people show up. And if you have a strong network of people and everything, you can get VIPs, not maybe A-list, but B-list or whoever to your event, to your parties, most likely even for free because you just treat them with a nice travel accommodation and whatsoever. And if they put it on their social media, you're selling as well. You got your street credibility you need in your target group. So that's like kind of this indirect intangibility in this whole press relation thing, so that you actually end up doing an tremendously expensive, shiny, crazy event, but that you attract those who actually spread the word, and especially in a digital space. And people end up buying or seeing it and just increasing your brand visibility. So that's just makes it crazy. So actually, you'd only do the offline events nowadays to end up online. You not do
Mm,
this to entertain anybody. I'm like, of course, it's nice to be entertained, but I'm like, come on. If you want to be entertained, you can go to a dinner show next in your town, like kind of. So we're
mhm.
actually ending up doing those offline events to spread the word digitally.
Mm, interesting, interesting. Now, I know you've expanded internationally and, like as you go into a new market, like what has that taught you about brand positioning across cultures?
So we expanded, or we were right in a finalization of expanding to the UAE, to the Emirates, to Dubai, and we found a local partner there who's a similar background as me, kind of being a freelancer, and then just increased clients and budgets and everything. And there are many funny things I learned. Basically, I would sum it up would be three things. First of all, and that was my most eye-opening slash wake-up call, serving clients as an agency seems to be the same, sorry to say, shit show as anywhere else in the world. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same customer. The client is demanding more than it's in the contract by your service provider agency. So you try to make the client happy, even though knowing that the result might be shitty, but the client is being difficult. So you try to make your client happy, and then you make your team unhappy because they have to work over hours to just deliver. And then you're just ending up in having an average result for something you ended up saying right at the beginning to the client that it doesn't make any sense. And the client then dumps it and says, oh, what a bullshit result. I don't want that. You were right. It seems to me, I mean, like I work with Chinese brands and I work now with Arabian brands and I work with US brands and everything. It's everywhere the same. This customer versus agency relationship is even in Arabic cultures, which is a fully different culture and everything to us Westerns, even there it's the same. It's just, and I sat there at some point in time and thought myself, wow, I'm having the same discussions as I have in Germany, like kind of it's same, but different.
Humans are humans.
Humans are humans, and clients and agency life is everywhere the same. The pain points are always the same. So that was kind of my first thing. The second one was that actually the Arabian people actually meet up in person and are very fast and very reliable on agreements. Because in
Interesting.
Germany, actually especially in Germany, but in Europe in general, you get into introduction calls, then you get a second call, a third call. You always hear in any call round, in any meeting, you hear, oh, I have to ask the other one about the budget. I don't know yet. I will check. I have to go in this committee, or I have to ask this one, or I need the approval by finance. Can you please just tweak the pitch deck that way? And this whole acquisition process just drags so long that you ended up putting all of the money you earned in the acquisition process without actually earning any money, because maybe, baby, at the end of the acquisition process, it turns out nobody has the budget to do that and they just say no. And in Dubai or with the Arabians, at least it seems to me, like kind of what observed together from my local partner there, is if they meet up over coffee and if they say yes, then most likely it's happening. So it seems to me that my very German critical kind of that I have in my back of my mind, where they will find any reason to not do it, the contrary thing of what they do in Dubai. It's like kind of to them, it's strange if I discuss what might be the reasons to cancel. Because that's like kind of I'm a strategic thinker, so I always look at the risk and I always try to have a 360 round of that to be prepared around any reasons to not do it, And I'm annoying my local partner because he's sitting there like kind of, what is wrong with you? How negative can somebody be? I'm just sitting there, I'm like kind of sorry. We are Germans. We always find a reason to not do something, so no worries about that one.
That's
But
really
it's
interesting.
really
Oh,
different, and it's in person. It's like kind
mhm.
of it's of course they do video calls and everything. And of course I do with my local partner video calls because I can't be in Dubai the whole time to meet up over coffee, like kind of course. But they just meet up. And then there is a handshake agreement on that one, and then it's happening. And that's just strange to me. It's like I'm just sitting there and saying it's very fast and very reliable. So that was point 2 and point 3, but that's something I still can't nail it down. For me personally, I tend to say that e-com wise, they are a little bit behind in comparison to Europe and the US. Not in
Mhm.
terms of operations, last mile delivery and everything. On that one, they're Germany is 10 years behind in comparison to that one. So they have, for example, delivery app in which you actually have different buttons in the app depending if you want to have something within 10 minutes, within 1 hour, within 24 hours, or if it's okay that it comes within 2 or 3 days. So they're already
Oh, wow.
categorizing so that if I push on, I don't know, one is called whatever 15 minutes. If I'm here in that environment in the app, I know that everything I see here is within 50 minutes at my home.
Oh, wow.
Like kind of, so they are very, and it's ridiculous. That city is full of bicycle drivers 24/7. So when I was in October there, I drove to the airport at 2 or 3 a.m. and I was so surprised to still at 2, 3 a.m. to see the roads full of bicycle drivers because they're delivering something, which is ridiculous
Interesting.
because in Germany, of course, you have in the larger cities, we have this delivery to your doorstep thing for some groceries, but it's usually a very exclusive range of groceries and it's never 10 minutes. It's always 30 minutes. They end up
Mhm.
working at 10:30 in the evening. And I mean, like, come on, when do I really want to have that Coca-Cola? Of course, at midnight where I can't get it and stuff like these, like kind of. So that's like kind of what means for us Germans at our doorstep. In Dubai, it's
Mm,
like kind of, there is no difference in time or date or region or whatever. It's just really crazy.
mm.
But in terms of D2C brands, in terms of this up and running, having the next amazing, like kind of the next fancy protein drink, the next fancy fashion brand or whatever. This is not happening that fast there. I still don't know why, but in terms of D2C, they seem to be very slow.
Mm.
So that's
Interesting. So, Marina, what What'd be one piece of advice that you'd give to all the founders out there who are listening to this?
Difficult to say because I'm like, it ends up, I'm like, if you want to go big, then you have to prepare yourself that it hurts. Because just entrepreneurship, scaling people, scaling clients, running an agency, is crazy. The larger the clients base gets, the more under pressure is your operations, your delivery, what you have to deliver. The more you pressure your employees on that one, the more unhappier they get, the more unhappy you get, like kind of, it's like really, and that's the main challenge behind that. I would warn anybody if you are to 80% happy as a freelancer, then stay and be a freelancer because it's not worth it for the next 20% to dip into the pool of agencies because there's so many out there. On the other hand, if you're a nice, decent boutique agency, I wouldn't go up in scale. I think that the model of having agencies of dozens of people in those offices, I think those times are gone. I hope so, because it's just so inefficient. And I don't believe that they serve a client better than a small agency.
Yeah, that's good. I'm seeing that trend more and more, especially even when with AI and automation, how boutique, can they don't need this scale of people as much as they used to in the past, and are powerful, a lot more focused. And I think, like you touched on the efficiency point, that's what I'm seeing as well.
You have to. I mean, like, I'm like, we all live in the Western world in a very uncertain economical environment, say that way. Nobody knows, it's very uncertain. There are some presidents doing some things impacting all of our money power the whole day. Being a very profit driven person, I would say if you can't work unlimited on increasing your revenue, you have to have your costs under control
Hmm,
so that
that's
you
good.
at least have the profit base right? And then any big client who comes along is just pure cash because you have your operations and the margin and the costs right. But just to chase the next client to pay your bills, I tend to say nowadays it's not working out. I wouldn't do it that way anymore.
That's good. That's good. Now, if your audience wants to learn more about you and your agency, where's the best place to do that on?
LinkedIn. I'm sharing a lot of real life things on LinkedIn. I'm turning it slowly, most likely in English speaking only, which is always a difficult thing because of the algorithm and everything. So anybody who's into LinkedIn knows how challenging and intransparent that algorithm thing is. But I always try to be as valuable and insightful as possible without sugarcoating, because I think there are so many people out there claiming that running a business is the best thing on earth. I certainly truly believe this as well, but it's the same as having toddlers at home. It's the best thing on earth, but still they make you crazy. So be aware if you want to have kids, if you can't deal with that. So that's how I compare it. It's like always the same, like kind of running a business is the best thing. And I'm like, I couldn't be anything else than a business owner because I'm a really shitty employee, but it's just not that fun all the time.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
sharing
good.
always that one as well.
Well, Marina, thank you so much. This has been great. Thanks for sharing all of these nuggets and wisdom and just real transparent insights from the trenches. So thanks so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you, Chris, for your time and for the very challenging questions.
Yes. Yeah. No. And from everyone tuning in at the gym, in your car, or at your desk, thanks for joining us. And if this episode was helpful for you, be sure to subscribe and share it with another agency founder who needs to hear it. Because agencies don't rise alone, they rise together. This is Agency Rise.